Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about grieving during the holidays. So the first thing I really want you to pay attention to or be mindful of is just giving yourself grace. Grief is hard enough on its own, but then grief during the holidays is a whole nother thing. Holidays tend to be a time where people around you tend to be extra happy, extra excited. The world seems to be a happier place. You walk into a store, there's holiday music playing. Even as you pull into a gas station, you hear holiday music. You drive through town, you drive through neighborhood, there's lights all aglow. The world just seems to be brighter and cheerier. And you may find if you're grieving that your mood doesn't match the world around you. So what can you do if you're grieving this holiday season? There's some different ways that you can prepare. So really creating a blueprint. And you may say, what do you mean by creating a blueprint? Thinking about who, what, when, and where. So thinking about the approaching holidays, thinking about Thanksgiving, and thinking about your December holiday, whether it's Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, who will you be spending it with? And certainly this year with the pandemic, the holidays are going to look a little bit different for a lot of people. Who will you be spending it with? If you're grieving the loss of someone significant, certainly you know who you won't be spending it with, but who will you be spending it with, or who do you want to spend it with, either physically or if you're doing the holidays via Zoom? What does that look like? Again, is it virtually? Is it in someone's home? How many people will be there? When will it be held? Will it be held on the actual day of the holiday? If it's Thanksgiving, will it be held in the afternoon? Will it be held at dinner time? If it's Christmas, will it be held, in the morning? Will it be held in the evening? If it's during the Hanukkah celebration, will it be held, each of the evenings? Will it be held, on one of the evenings? And where will it be held? Will you be hosting? Where will you be going, somewhere else? And that gets into how. Are you planning? Are you hosting? Or are you an invitee? If you've always hosted before, and now you're not hosting this year, or you've always hosted before and you're still expected to host, but you don't want to, have you set those boundaries in place? No matter what the plans are, I encourage you to have an escape plan. And you might be thinking, well, what's an escape plan? When you're grieving, you need to have an out. When you're grieving, it may feel really good to be around friends and family, but if it gets to be too much, if those emotions of grief really start to rise and you're like, you know what, I thought it was going to be really good to be around, all of these people, but right now I need a little bit of a break. Can you go outside? If you're hosting people in your house, can you go upstairs and lay down for a little while? If you're going to someone else's home, I encourage you to drive yourself, or I encourage you to go with someone that if you say to them, you know what, I'm ready to leave right now, that you can say to them, I'm ready to leave right now, and they'd be willing to take you. Or if you go to someone else's house and ride with them, can you call an Uber? Or, again, with the pandemic this year, maybe it's, you don't attend and you attend virtually. That way, if it gets to be too much, it's a click of a button and you can leave that way. But I really, really encourage you to create this blueprint, because the great thing about a blueprint is typically we create blueprints in pencil. And because we're creating them in pencil, pencils come with erasers. We can erase, we can edit, we can change, we can figure it out. Because when you're grieving the loss of someone significant, it changes typically how the holiday looks. I can remember growing up, My grandmother died when I was 19. My grandmother hosted all of our family's traditional holidays. And that first year after she died, it was really, really challenging. My family did not get together for Thanksgiving or Christmas that year at her house as we'd had before. And we really flailed as an extended family on how to do it. And it took that first year of not doing it well for us to figure out how to do it better that second year. So as you create your blueprint and start to plan how you want your holidays to look, you may start to have some anxiety as you start to anticipate what the holidays will look like. As you start to anticipate and as you start to maybe have some anxiety, some things that you can do are these anticipation adjusters. So instead of anticipating the worst, as many of us do, we jump to that worst case scenario, try anticipating the best. Instead of this is going to be awful and, I'm really going to miss so-and-so and this is my favorite thing about them, about the holidays, try anticipating the best, because chances are it's not going to be the worst and it's not going to be in the best. It's going to be somewhere in the middle. Reminisce about holidays in the past. One of my family's favorite traditions that we do participate in on the holidays is we watch videotapes, yes, old VHS tapes of Christmases and holidays in the past where we have loved ones who are in those videos who've since passed. And we get to see them, we get to hear them, and we get to be reminded of holidays of when they were alive. Yeah, they're hard to watch, they're emotional to watch, tears are flowing, but also laughter and memories are shared as we reminisce about those holidays past. Anticipate after. The holidays are upon us, but January is going to come. November and December, there's a lot to them, but January comes and the holidays will end. Also use positive self-talk. That little engine that could. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. I can get through, November 27th. I can get to November 28th. I can get to, December 26th. I can do 5 minutes at a time. I can do just 5 more minutes at this holiday meal. I really like going to my sister's house because I really do enjoy seeing her kids. That positive self-talk to get you through. So if you start to get anxious about what's ahead of you, try some of these anticipation adjusters. And you may have to do them more than once, and you may have to try more than one. So other considerations as you look at the holiday season, are you going to send out holiday cards? Or holiday cards something that you've sent out in the past? Maybe you don't send out the number that you've sent before. Maybe you keep a basket, on your counter, and for every one that you receive, you send one back out. Maybe you decide not to do them this year. Maybe you just send out an email. Do you decorate this year? Do you decorate as you always have before? Do you just do simple decorations? Do you just do indoor decorations? Or do you just say, forget it with decorations? Do you buy all new decorations? Do you still shop this year? And again, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, some of these things may change as well. Do you, instead of do the typical shopping, do you donate and make donations in your loved one's name and let people know that you've donated in your loved one's name on their behalf this year? Holiday music, do you turn it on? Do you not turn it on? Some people say listening to holiday music is one of the ways that they intentionally grieve. Their loved one may have loved holiday music, so they turn it on as a way to honor and remember them as they listen, to that holiday music. Other traditions, what other traditions are important to you? Do you keep them or do you change them? Should you try to keep everything exactly the same, or do you adjust them a little bit? Some people, after the loss of a loved one, they want to keep traditions exactly the same because the loss is already so large that it feels good to keep everything else exactly the same. or others will say that it's much too painful and they want to change everything else as well. And the holiday dinner. Do you have the holiday dinner you've always had before and maybe set, the candle and set the empty place at the table for the missing loved one, or do you completely change it up? Again, not right or not wrong, but just some things to be thinking about. And you may try it one way this year and realize, yeah, that was not the right way. So you do something completely different the next year. But again, something to be mindful of is that the holidays will come, but then the holidays will also go. So you want to start thinking about once the holidays go, you want to just not get caught up in November and December, but you also want to plan for the new year. What are you going to do to take care of yourself in the new year? Your grief is still going to be there after the holidays. It may get a little bit lighter after the holidays. It may get a little bit heavier after the holidays. Do you want to join a support group? Certainly, if you're here local to Rock Hill, Hospice and Community Care has some different drop-in groups. There are some groups that you can sign up for online. Certainly, as we navigate the pandemic, there are more virtual support groups than there are in-person support groups. If you're listening to this somewhere not in Rock Hill, certainly look up the information for the hospice closest to you and find out what support groups are being offered to you. It can be really helpful to hear other people who are grieving the loss of a loved one as well, to hear what's working for them. You may want to try a new hobby, trying, a new book club, or, playing racquetball, or going for a walk, or just trying something new that you didn't have time for before. Volunteering. A lot of people will say, in their grief, if you're not working, and some of you may be working, so you may not have time to volunteer. But if you have time, try volunteering. A lot of people will say in their grief, something that has helped them a lot along the way is to give back. Instead of thinking about what they're going through, if they can help someone else who needs help, that's really helped them in their grief process. But above all else, remember to be easy on yourself this holiday season. There's no right way or wrong way to grieve. Give yourself grace. Be easy on yourself. And try to remember that you're trying to figure out what you need this holiday season. And make sure you try to verbalize and let your family and friends around you know what you need this holiday season as well. I wish you all a happy and healthy holiday season.